With great power comes great responsibility.
We all love Spider-Man in the MCU. The two go together like peanut butter and jelly, or the internet and making fun of Hawkeye for some strange reason. But if you really stop and take a look at Spider-Man's MCU timeline, you'll be amazed at how truly great his arc is across all of his appearances and the endless possibilities his future holds. So today, we're examining the great history of Spider-Man in the MCU, so let's get into it right now. Die-hard fans know that we actually met Peter Parker much earlier than Captain America Civil War, with the future Spider-Man appearing in 2010's Iron Man 2. Did you forget? That's okay. We try to forget that movie too sometimes, but yes, that's right, Peter Parker has been confirmed to be in that movie. Remember the kid who was at the Stark Expo? The one who fearlessly stared down a hammer drone with a probably overpriced toy mask and fake blaster? That's baby Spidey. Just when the drone is about to take out Peter, Iron Man swoops in and actually saves him from becoming dust this time. Iron Man gives Peter a quick, "nice work, kid," and flies off to continue fighting, leaving Peter awestruck. Yes, we know that Marvel didn't originally plan for this to be Spider-Man when the movie came out, but when the webhead officially joined the MCU, given his age, it was easy for them to say, hey, actually, that kid was Peter Parker all along. And it's a nice moment, showing how Peter was always prone to bravery, perhaps without always thinking things through and being inspired by Iron Man's heroics. So who cares about this retroactively revealed cameo was one factor in breaking the Marvel timeline? It doesn't matter because it means more Spider-Man, but by the time we had a proper introduction in Captain America Civil War, we didn't need to dive too much into the backstory because we've already seen Spider-Man's origin play out twice before in the last 20 years. Marvel wisely skipped over Peter's superhero origins and cut straight to him being an established hero. Well, established for only 6 months at that point, but still, and it's not like we really needed to be retold his origin. We all know the story. Retroactive Spider, Uncle Ben dying, with great power comes great responsibility, yada yada yada. So when we first meet Peter, Tony is trying to recruit him to come help him in his fight against Captain America. Now, we're just going to gloss over the fact that Tony's whole point during Civil War is that superheroes should be held accountable and registered under the Sokovia Accords, and then goes off and recruits a random 15-year-old to come fight with him without telling anyone. It was out of necessity. Tony looked at Cap's lineup and probably went, Scarlet Witch and Hawkeye? I need to bring in some more muscle. And we should be glad he did, because the MCU's Peter Parker quickly established himself as a fan-favorite hero. He was quippy without being overly cocky, and his enthusiastic love for this brand new superhero life was enthusiastic enough to cheer us up after seeing Cap and Iron Man's nasty divorce. And boy, we're sure glad Iron Man brought Spider-Man along into the infamous airport battle, because it was a highlight. Geeking out over Bucky's metal arm, earning Captain America's respect, and even coming up with the plan to topple Ant-Man turned Giant Man by thinking about that really old movie Empire Strikes Back. His plan worked, but unfortunately, Spider-Man ended up hurt and exhausted. Although the one thing not damaged was his spirit, and he desperately tried to keep fighting, not wanting to disappoint his new mentor, Iron Man. Tony applauded his determination, but decided Peter was done fighting, and even threatened to call Aunt May if he didn't stand down. Hey, that'd scare us too. But Spider-Man really had nothing to worry about. He was so good in that airport battle that the powers that be decided to give him his very own movie. Okay, we know that's not how that played out, but it's nice to think he was rewarded in some way. Just a little over a year later, after watching the MCU get mystical with its trippy Doctor Strange movie and then take to the stars once again with our lovable misfits, the Guardians of the Galaxy, Spider-Man made his proper MCU debut with his own solo film. Spider-Man Homecoming. The name itself, a double entendre, as it both took place around a homecoming dance and was a homecoming for the character of Spider-Man to return under the proper Marvel umbrella, and was a lot less of a spectacle than the previous two Marvel releases. It didn't have universe-destroying stakes like Doctor Strange or Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, but was more of a grounded, coming-of-age story about a kid trying to grow up too fast. Sure, it also included superheroes, epic CGI battles, and Michael Keaton in another bird-themed role, but at its core was the tale of a young kid trying really hard to impress his mentor and be taken seriously as an adult and hero. And it's hard to blame Peter's mindset at the beginning of the movie. He's just come back from fighting all of his favorite superheroes plus Falcon, and now he's ready to be a full-fledged Avenger. Tony isn't that much of a help at the beginning, not so much in shutting Peter down as much as telling him a version of the old "don't call us, we'll call you" line while still flirting with Aunt May. 2 months pass and Tony, along with the lovable and grumpy Happy Hogan, are apparently giving Peter the cold shoulder. But an excited Peter doesn't take the hint. He checks in almost every day with Happy, continues to patrol the streets of New York, and clears his schedule to leave room in case Tony contacts him for a mission. It's clear he's earning the infamous moniker of the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, although it's clear that's a name he desperately doesn't want to be stuck with. He's got a taste of that sweet, sweet Avengers life, and he doesn't want anything else. Who wants to be studying for tests, put up with bullies, and be forced to watch lame Captain America PSAs when you could be out using your extraordinary power to save the world? The theme of this movie is keeping your feet on the ground while you can, but of course, Peter doesn't want to do that at the beginning. He wants to fly. Speaking of flying, Spider-Man Homecoming was rightfully being praised for its villain, Adrian Toomes, aka the Vulture. He's not really an Avengers-level threat as he mainly flies around, steals weapons, and sells them all in the name of family. But he was a perfect villain for Peter at that time in his character arc. He's a street-level guy, just like Peter, and he teaches Peter the value of staying close to the ground for a little while longer. But really, one of the strongest elements of the movie is the relationship between Tony and Peter. It's a clear mentor-mentee type of relationship, but one element that's never explicitly stated, yet quite apparent, is that it's a father-son relationship. Peter doesn't have a strong male influence in his life with his parents gone and Uncle Ben shot by the Sandman. Wait, no, that's the other franchise. Either way, Peter forms a strong connection with Tony, and Tony accepts the role as Peter's mentor with the sort of arrogance and self-centeredness that you'd expect, but also clearly cares for Peter and wants to protect him. It's not a coincidence that after this movie, Tony starts talking about having kids of his own. In the end, Peter gets the chance to have everything he wanted. After defeating the Vulture and saving the day, Iron Man offers him a new specialty suit and a permanent place on the Avengers team. But Peter's learned a valuable lesson about taking his time to be the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man and turns Tony down. He also probably took one look at that iron Spidey suit and thought about how uncomfortable it must be on the inside. Peter thinks that this is his mentor testing him and is happy to end the movie going back to his semi-normal life, but as we know, it wasn't a test. Tony was really ready to give him the suit, as well as the official Avengers name badge and parking space. But Peter's decision to walk away for now did allow Tony the chance to finally propose to Pepper Potts. Geez, Tony, you must really want your own kids so that they're forced to accept gifts like the iron Spidey suit when you try to give it to them. Even though Peter is adamant about staying local until he grows some chest hair, he doesn't really get that chance because there's a big purple Care Bear named Thanos trying to wipe out half of all life in the universe. When his minions invade New York in Infinity War, Peter joins the fight with Doctor Strange, Wong, Iron Man, and a performance-shy Hulk. Soon, Strange is captured, and not even his magical flying carpet cape can save him. The aliens abduct him, and even though Iron Man tells Peter to stand down, Peter's willing to latch himself onto the spaceship to try to save him. This leads Peter to getting that iron Spidey suit after all. But although Tony gave him the suit to save his life and to escort him back to the ground, Peter won't leave Tony and Strange behind, latching onto the ship. Way to go, Tony! You gave him a suit that allowed him to stay on the ship better, which was your exact opposite goal. Once on the ship, Peter's love for really old movies helps him out again, and they pull an alien by blasting Squidward out into space, freezing him like a popsicle. It's here that Iron Man and Strange make the tough choice. The only play they have right now is to take the fight to Thanos. It sounds pretty dangerous if you ask us, but the one good thing about this plan is that Tony officially declares Peter an Avenger, formally knighting him, much to Peter's absolute delight. But maybe being an Avenger isn't all great. Soon, Peter's crash landing on alien planets and fighting the Guardians of the Galaxy, who really are more impressive by name than they are in person. But the real battle is yet to come, and Peter plays a key part in the Avengers' doomed plan to remove the Infinity Gauntlet from Thanos' grip. If only the second best Peter in the group didn't get overly emotional, they would have had it. But unfortunately, Thanos breaks free, shanks Tony, and takes the Time Stone before zapping off to Earth. You gotta bet that, at this point, they're all really hoping Captain America is ready to stop him. Short answer, he isn't. And before the Space Avengers know it, they all start turning to dust. Of course, the hardest dusting to watch was Spider-Man's, which takes way longer than anyone else's. The writers have explained this is because Peter was just so powerful that he was fighting it so hard, coupled with the fact that his spider sense was warning him of danger. But really, the reason he stayed so long was because they wanted to punch us in the gut and make us fill buckets with our tears. As his father figure held him, Peter cried about how he didn't want to go over and over again before apologizing to Tony one last time. We're not crying. You're crying. We just got dust in our eye. Dust that was once a quippy webhead, and boy, that's a lot of dust. We knew this death wouldn't be permanent, especially because we knew Spider-Man Far From Home already started filming, but dang, was that death heartbreaking to watch. Thankfully, Endgame revealed that Peter didn't suffer or remember anything about the 5 years he was gone. As he tells Tony after his climactic return in Avengers Endgame, he remembers going all dusty, but just thinks he passed out for a bit. Then he woke up with Doctor Strange telling him that the rest of the Avengers need help. So of course he jumped back into action. Now, here's the most important part of all of this. Although Spider-Man Homecoming started with Tony saying that they don't really do hugs, you can sure bet that Tony embraced his surrogate son hard upon first seeing him. It's a beautiful moment that captures the special relationship these two had. But as we all know now, that battle ends in tragedy as Peter's mentor, Tony Stark, sacrifices himself to stop Thanos and his army using the Infinity Stones to turn the tables on the Mad Titan, and Peter is one of the 3 people crying over his body when he dies. Are you sure there aren't more dusted heroes floating around because our eyes are really watery? He ends Avengers Endgame attending Tony's funeral, and now the opportunities are endless. Peter has to learn to become his own man without Tony around. It's going to be a difficult journey, but from everything we've seen of this kid so far, we think he's going to be just fine. Underoos and all. That's our video detailing Spider-Man's complete history in the MCU. What's your favorite Spider-Man moment so far? Where do you think the character can go from here? Leave a comment down below with your thoughts, and as always, be sure to subscribe to CBR for more awesome MCU content. Thanks for watching.